guys, welcome back to Chic on the Cheap. This week I have my sweet sister-in-law to thank for the project idea. She is up on all the trends and told me about a new trend from American Apparel, cloth hair bows, and they look kind of like this. I made mine a little bit smaller, but you can make them bigger, kind of like the ones that they sell at American Apparel. And so today I'm going to show you how to make your very own knockoff American Apparel cloth hair bows. Check it out.
So to start with, you'll need 2 pieces of fabric, and they don't have to be very big. I used just some scraps that I had from an old project. You want a large square, and this is going to be doubled over to be the size of your bow, and then you need 1 long strip which will become the center of the bow. So to begin with, take your square and double it over on itself, and you're going to sew down both of the sides, but then on the side opposite the fold, you're going to leave a little opening, and I'll show you that a little bit later. On the longer piece, fold it in half horizontally and sew down the long, straight 2 raw edges together, and you don't need to sew the ends. So here you can see on that cloth, the big square that will become the bow, that little area, it's probably only about 1/2 inch that I left open. So you're going to sew kind of like 2 L shapes to get to that little opening place, and then leave that open because you're going to use it to flip your bow inside out. So here you can see I flipped the bow inside out using that little hole, and there's the little hole that's still open, the place that I left open on that little edge. All you need to do is top stitch that shut, and you will never see it once our bow is done. So here's what our finished square looks like for the main part of the bow that we're going to make. Again, you sew down both sides, leave a tiny opening on the 3rd side, flip it inside out, and then top stitch that little hole shut. Here's the long piece that will become the center of the bow that holds it together, and again I left the 2 ends open, just sew down the 1 long edge. So next, take your finished bow square and pinch it in the center where we're going to actually put the strap that will hold it to keep its shape as a bow. So just pinch it down so it looks kind of like the bow that we're going to end up with. Then you need to take your long piece, the long strip of material that we sewed, and you need to wrap it around the center and pinch it until you have it looking the way that you want it to look. And then once you have that, you need to kind of hold with your thumb where you pinch that off at, and you're going to cut that little strip. That's all that we're going to use of that piece. And as you can see, there will probably be a lot of waste, but it's better to make a longer strip than to have too short of one. So cut off the section that you're going to use, then put the 2 raw edges together, go to your sewing machine and just sew a quick seam so you have 1 loop. Then to hide those raw edges so they don't fray and they don't show, all you're going to do is flip this inside out so that you have a loop, and it'll look like this. It'll have the nice seam on the back, and the raw edges will be on the inside, and because we're going to slip the bow into this loop, those raw edges won't show or fray. So next you're going to take your bow square that we finished, and I like to kind of fold one end of it accordion style and just start to slip it through that loop that you just finished making. And once you have it slipped through, just kind of work it around to where you get all the tufting the way that you want it. And from here, the actual bow part of your bow is done. And you could add a little piece or a little dot of hot glue on the back just to keep the bow from moving once you have it the way that you like. Depending on the fabric that you use, you may want to take it to the iron and just press it so that it kind of sits a little stiffer and flatter. And then the last thing that you want to do to make it a functional bow is just to add a barrette piece to the back. And you can either slip it in like I did, mine was small enough so I just slipped it in there and it holds right on the loop, or you could hot glue one on there if you have a larger one too. So that is it, and that is a cheap way to get an American Apparel knockoff hair bow.
And like I said before, you could make them smaller like I did, or you could make them big depending on what size you want them to be. You could also make them really small and use them for child hair bows or baby hair bows. It's just a really easy project with lots of different uses, and you don't even have to use them as hair bows. You could use them to put onto clothing or sew onto a dress. Lots of different ways to use them. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks Helen for the idea this week, and please join me right back here for more money saving ideas that will make you look good.